Later this month, Haakon Peterson will head to the University of Michigan to pursue NCAA wrestling titles and ultimately a spot on the U.S. Olympic team. Given his journey so far, neither goal would come as a surprise. Few young men prepare harder than Haakon. His work ethic is remarkable. He is also an excellent student with hopes of becoming an orthopedic surgeon. His decorated wrestling career has been featured in newspapers, newscasts, and podcasts. Haakon is proud to be a 4-time national champion at Fargo, the world's largest wrestling tournament. He went 174-0 in high school while winning 4 WIAA state titles for Dodgeville in 4 different weight classes. And he is a 3-time Pan American gold medalist for Team USA, most recently winning gold in Rio de Janeiro this past summer. Even he can't tell you how many tournaments he's won in total.
I don't know the number. It's definitely quite a few, but on the opposite side of my bedroom, it's definitely a mess over there. And yeah, taking all the trophies out from my graduation and stuff that I won, it was like, wow, I actually didn't realize like how many tournaments I had been to and like how well I had done at a lot of them. So
Haakon is the youngest child of Bret and Jenni Peterson, who live outside of Hollandale. He has 2 older sisters, Avery, a Dodgeville graduate who played several sports before earning her degree from UW-Madison. She now works in medical device sales for Medline in San Francisco. And Ella, a Mount Horeb graduate who excelled in soccer and gymnastics, helping her gymnastics team finish 1st or 2nd at state for 3 years. After recovering from 2 broken feet that sidelined her for a season, Ella returned her senior year, then attended UW-Madison. Walked on to the women's rowing team, and filled a key role as the stroke seat rower. She recently graduated and has started medical school at Loyola University Chicago's Stritch School of Medicine. For Haakon, it began with gymnastics. At 5 years old, he'd go to Ella's gymnastic practices, and he would tumble around on the mats. Both Jenni and Bret attribute gymnastics to both Ella's and Haakon's development in their respective sports.
Ella loved it. Haakon loved to make improvements, and if he couldn't make the improvement at a practice that he wanted, he'd get so frustrated. Yeah, but he would be tenacious, and it served him well. And same with Ella. The thing about gymnastics is you can go work on a skill for an hour and a half, but it's not even the skill. You may be working on one part of a skill, and to close to become, I don't know, just so proficient at it, you have to do it so many times and have to be so persistent. And I think that's what's helped them both be successful.
So how did Haakon get into wrestling, one might ask?
Well, we've told this story a lot, but the way I remember it is this. Haakon brought home, he was at St. Joe's at the time, he brought home a flyer and wanted to wrestle. I wrestled in high school, but I wrestled because my friends asked me to wrestle. I was really into the football. So, to start when you're 6 years old, I was like, no, this is way too early. I had no idea. We were just so separated from the wrestling reality. But some of the kids had been started since they were 4. We didn't know that.
I don't know why. I just begged my parents to take me to wrestling practice. I'm assuming I just thought WWE was cool, and I was like, I want to do that. So I don't know if I knew what wrestling exactly was. I just wanted to do it. I was like halfway through the year when I actually joined because I had to convince my parents to finally let me go because they thought I'd be too competitive and not be able to handle losing, which, I mean, I'm not sure they're really wrong about that one. But I finally broke them and let me start wrestling.
Finally, after asking me multiple times, the way I remember it was one morning he came into the room, and I don't know why I was tired, I was sleeping, and he begged me, please sign, I want to go to practice. So I signed it. He took it back to St. Joe's. I find out when the practice was, and well, all right, well, you're going to practice. I'm going to see what this is all about. And I went with him for the first time, and that was at the Dodgeville Middle School is where I think the practice was held. And what I saw was his gymnastics translate into wrestling. Like, he had never wrestled before. He was super competitive, always. We knew that. Part of the story these guys say is that we didn't want him to wrestle because he'd be too competitive, he'd get beat, and he'd cry. And Haakon says, yeah, they're probably right. And yeah, there was part of that, but what I saw when we went to practice, he was practicing against kids who've been wrestling for a couple years that were bigger, older, and he did so incredibly well. And I remember coming home and telling Jenni, I couldn't believe it. And said, this could be something special if, we try to just nurture it along, cultivate it.
So Haakon's wrestling journey began. 2 days a week he'd wrestle at Dodgeville, and 2 days he'd wrestle at Pecatonica, where his dad went to school. He would spend countless hours wrestling with friends, both locally and nationally. When not wrestling, he was training and getting stronger.
My name's Haakon Peterson, and this past summer I made the U15 World Team in both freestyle and Greco. Here are some of the reasons you should wrestle freestyle and Greco too. First, you'll be able to wrestle some of the best competition in the country. Second, you'll learn how to become a well-rounded wrestler because freestyle and Greco teaches you to stay in good position at all time. And third, you'll be able to control the center of the mat and circle back into the mat when you're at the edge.
When he started 4X wrestling with 4-time state champion Cole Waneke from Ithaca as his coach, Haakon said,
And then I started going to 4X, and I think that's when I really started to develop and get a lot better at wrestling with Coach Waneke. And that was really just he won 4-time. He's a 4-time state champion. So seeing those brackets at practice, I think that was kind of when I first wanted to become a 4-time state champ. So it's kind of cool how the stories of being coached by one and then becoming a 4-time state champion.
Haakon's gymnastic flips has become part of his signature at state and national events.
He's a two-time World All-Star team member, currently ranked number 1 from Hollandale, Wisconsin, Haakon Peterson.
You kind of showcase yourself. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, you've heard the announcements, you're standing in the tunnel and the lights and the light show, and they're barking over the loudspeaker Haakon's credentials and his rank and how many times he's won Tulsa Kickoff Classic and Tulsa Nationals. And they want it to be a show, and so Haakon would come out and he would do multiple flips all the way out to his competitor, and he wouldn't be the only one that would do it, but I would say he probably did it better than anybody else.
Haakon credits many coaches who helped him develop through high school, wrestling academies in Iowa and Wisconsin, and national events. He speaks especially highly of Ben Askren of the Askren Wrestling Academy. Askren was a 4-time NCAA finalist and 2-time NCAA champion for Missouri at 174 pounds.
Herbert and Askren, two of the best guys in the country. Probably whoever wins the national title at that weight that year is going to win the Hodge.
He then became a 2008 U.S. champion and Olympian in the 74-kilogram freestyle wrestling.
I don't know, just seeing how good I can be, and I'm always really competitive, so just I hate losing, so I'd say that's just definitely a part of it. But yeah, just going to practice and learning just how good I can be, and there's so many things that I can still improve on, and just from wrestling the guys at Askren that have been done with college, and even wrestling with Ben when I used to wrestle with him, it was just I feel like a little kid wrestling him. He just knows everything I'm gonna do and what he has to do next to beat me, and it's just okay, I've got to get a lot better. And definitely just I feel like having something, a goal, or even just okay, I've lost this match and I really need to get better. I think that's kind of what pushes me, is drive. You got to get better to be able to win, and so just to stay competitive, you've got to get better. So,
despite his undefeated high school record, he said he never went a summer in his high school years without losing a match on the national level.
It's never really been a shock, oh my goodness, I lost. It's every summer, I don't think I went a summer in my high school without losing a match. So, I mean, yeah, I would say for the most part, a lot of my losing in the outside of the season during the summer was kind of what helped me get a lot better for the high school season. And it wasn't just for the high school season, but I think every time you lose, you get something to learn about yourself and what you need to get better at. So I would just say, yeah, those losses are really important to growing and becoming better.
His high school coach at Dodgeville, Ryan Lord.
It's rare that you're going to coach somebody like Haakon and have that opportunity, So, it's a real blessing to our community and school to have Haakon here, helping some of the younger kids out, and even some of the more advanced wrestlers, just whether it's fine-tuning things or what he's done as a wrestler, what he's brought as a coach, and helping other people as well has been amazing too. As great of a wrestler as as he is, he's as great of a student, but probably the person he is trumps both.
Haakon also credits his dad, who attended many practices and matches.
I can remember my dad just had like a list of all the wrestling moves that we had learned at 4X, and we would just go through all of them, and just he would watch us, and he wasn't that great of a wrestler, but from just watching us at Cole at practice, and then I would stay at the high school, or stay for the high school practices, and I think a lot of times I was just there to be around the sport, but I think my dad was really the one that was learning a lot from being at those high school practices, and then he's able to help me get better and just say, okay, you need to fix this.
Haakon was fortunate to grow up with friends in Dodgeville who also wrestled. Through 4X, he met Reed Spurley at camp after Coach Waneke paired them as wrestling partners, a partnership that lasted for years. Along with Charlie Might, Nathan Johnson, Shane Rochon, and Rhett Spurley, they attended numerous camps and tournaments together, pushing one another to improve. In 2024, Shane, Haakon, Charlie, and Reed all won gold for Dodgeville at the WIAA state tournament.
Oh, it was a brotherhood, for sure. It was an amazing brotherhood, the way those guys supported each other.
Bret and Jenni both started taking photographs and video along the way to capture his expedition.
For me, it was really nerve-wracking to watch him wrestle, and that's how all of the photography started, because I would get so stressed out watching him that if I was behind the camera, I had to be focused on taking pictures and not getting nervous, and so that's how I started taking pictures.
Before the pandemic, the Petersons had bought a used section of wrestling mat from Pecatonica and set it up in the basement so Haakon could practice with family and friends or train on his own. The mat proved especially useful during COVID, allowing him to stay sharp through individual workouts from an East Coast virtual training program that began each day at 5 a.m. The Petersons don't credit any one particular thing they did as parents to see the successes that their children are having.
And I think we're both very driven people, have worked really hard for everything, in our life and our family. And I think it's more the expectation that you'll do the best job you can, you're going to be the best person you can be, and that's all we ask, of them. And not that we have certain standards that they have to meet, just that they're doing the best they can and putting the most effort they can into all that they do.
And they become just self-driven, right? I don't feel like we've had to push them hard. And again, we are to surround them with the right people. And all of our kids, because all of our kids have their own mentors and things. But we just ask them to put their best effort forward. And, sometimes, when their best effort's not good enough, they're by far the hardest critics on themselves. For sure. They get as parents, we have to bring that back down. You're doing great. It's fine. It's going to be good. Right? It's a hiccup. We'll learn from it. We'll move on.
What's it going to be? Where's Haakon Peterson going to go to college?
Yeah, I'm happy to announce that I'm committing to the University of Michigan.
University of Michigan. Very cool. Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
And we got there, and from not the very first moment, but the first moments, Jenni and I were there for maybe an hour and a half watching Haakon interact. And we went right from the hotel. They picked us up to the practice. Haakon was watching practice. We were sitting amongst some of the other parents, and maybe some of the wrestlers were coming over to say hi. A lot of them came over to say hi. Now that I think of it. And watching Haakon interact with the coaches, and we hadn't even had a conversation. We're an hour into just observing. Yeah. And we both felt like this could be it.
For Haakon, he already knows several of the Michigan wrestlers from national tournaments. He's also excited to be a roommate with another 4-time WIAA state champion, Kellen Wolbert from Oconomowoc.
I know a lot of guys on the team, which is nice. And then my roommate from Oconomowoc, he's a 4-time state champion as well. So having him, we go to the same club, Askren, Kellen Wolbert, so having him as just someone that I really know well will be nice, and to have as a roommate will be really cool and fun since we go to the same club now. and yeah, hopefully make some fun memories together.
After winning his third Pan Am gold this past July and able to drape the American flag around his neck, Haakon was especially proud.
The gold medal goes to, from USA, Haakon Peterson. Vamos agora escutar o hino dos Estados Unidos. We now hear.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of the coolest feelings I've had from wrestling. I mean, it's a lot of pride, and again, of just like all the stuff you've done to get to that point, and also be able to represent your country is a really cool opportunity, and I couldn't be more thankful for it.
To see your child at the top of the podium, and they're playing the national anthem and raising the flag, just be like, you kind of, it's a pinch me, is this real moment? The pride, and not just pride in your boy, but your country.
Of his 4 WIAA Wisconsin state titles, Haakon said the first and fourth gold he remembers the best.
I would say the first one and the fourth one were my favorite. I can just remember going out to the mat and how loud it was, of just the music, and like it was shaking through my whole body, and just the crowd in general. I'd say the crowd was the best in my freshman year as the first match, so that helps. But yeah, I can just remember being in surrounded by the crowd, and it was just a super cool moment. And then, yeah, my fourth year, if it wasn't my fourth state title, maybe it wouldn't have been as satisfying, I guess. But you don't get a better crowd than the Kohl Center, so definitely have to enjoy that while you're there. But yeah, winning it and kind of just realizing all the work I'd done to win it, and all the people that helped me is just, yeah, it's kind of sad, but really fun at the same time.
Outside of college, he will try to make a world team and hopefully the Olympics in 2028 and 2032.
I mean, it'd be amazing if I could do that. And yeah, just going out, even if you don't win, just being able to go wrestle the best guys. Now you're in college, and a lot of those guys that you're going to be wrestling outside of the college season are going to be some of the best that had done it in college. So getting that feel and then going back to college, I think it'll kind of be the same thing as this year from seniors to U20s at Vegas. So yeah, just being able to wrestle as many good guys as you can, I think will really help you become better. So
to help train this summer for Michigan, Haakon works out at The Edge in Platteville 3 days a week, doing 75-minute workouts with his trainer, Ryan Siegert.
I had grown quite a bit in between my sophomore and junior year, and so that's kind of like when I first started lifting, and then I went over to The Edge. I'd thought about it for a long time, and then it kind of came important just from wrestling at practice, and like, okay, I need to be stronger and wrestling against these bigger guys. So going over there, and just they would have workouts for me and that I'd do, and they're a big help for sure. I know I think I would have lost some matches my junior year if I hadn't been able to like work out and have that stuff. I mean, I probably would have figured out a way anyway, but yeah, just to have that help and knowledge that they already had versus just doing it on my own was a big help. But now I'm starting to do the Michigan workouts, so I've probably done that for the last 2 months. But yeah, it's definitely been a big help. Obviously, wrestling is going to be the most important part of your training because you're wrestling, so just learning new stuff. But it definitely helps to have the power to do the moves behind it as well. So
later this month, Haakon will be heading to Michigan with the dream of becoming an NCAA champion and an Olympian. And this community will be following his journey from afar. And to think, it all started when Haakon was 5 years old and participating at Ella's gymnastics practices.
The one thing I'm so glad we did was get Haakon and Ella involved in gymnastics early. I just think the parallels between gymnastics and almost any other sport are just phenomenal. The foundation that they build between the qualities and the skills and the perseverance of, the balance, the flexibility, the power, the explosiveness, just those kind of things, I think have translated for our kids. And I know Haakon's even said it, he goes, my kids are definitely doing gymnastics. Yeah.